What an ending. We didn't know where it comes. This is Academy of Tone 120 with Kai Sonnhalter, and the biggest question of them all: what can we do to survive in the music business in 2020?
And the answer is we don't know. I'm putting this away.
That's a good plan. Okay, and wait a minute. Out. So we mute this and that, and now we are hopefully kind of cleanish here. We don't know, but we do something. That's probably a thing.
What's your story? Where did you end up where you ended up?
Yeah.
How did you end up where you ended up?
To make my story short, is like I entered the music business when I was 17, being a studio guitar player and recording for other people. Got some money for it. Back in the days, we got money for playing for other people. And then I started to tour with the Rainbirds, Purple Schultz, and in the end Tic Tac Toe. And this was very well paid because this was the golden days of records, where most record companies had double income because they still had the money from selling vinyl and then brought out everything again on CDs, but no production costs.
So this was this mid-90s?
90s, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So this, and then of course, productions were huge. Wait a minute, I brought a few CDs here with me, so we can see. For instance, my good old Uwe Ochsenknecht CD. There's like, besides me, a ton of other guitar players on there. A massive production. Took ages to finish, and you can see it's $32.99. You had to pay.
Was that was
Deutschmarks
back in the day? Yes.
So 15 euros maybe. Okay, still okay. And besides that, I had my own projects, and that was phase one. So I was coming into this industry. I started smaller, make my way up, and I reached the top with...
So you started as a player, actually?
As a player, yeah. So, and my side job was always sound designer because, with the experience in the studio and fiddling around with amps and being a demonstrator with Jusen Kettner, I ended up in the R&D department, came up with product ideas like this fellow, the Tube Man, which was 1992, one of the classic first pedal format amplifiers tones, actually, It didn't have a power amp, but it was a 4-channel preamp. And you see where things are coming from.
Is the story true? I once heard the story that the Tube Man has four channels.
Yeah.
Because the switch that you guys used was a 4-way switch. You couldn't find a 3-way switch.
Yeah.
Because originally you only planned with three channels, and then you came up with the fourth one.
It was like funk, which we had to clean, split into funk and jazz. But it used to be, my idea was a 3-channel, clean, blues, which is kind of the medium overdrive, and rock, which is kind of a more gainy setting. And well, this was my concept. I have the original drawings. I might do a full episode on this and the history of what I'm doing on amps, but it's actually true. And when you look at my first drawings, it looks exactly what it is. It's scary. And back in the days, things were a lot simpler than today with Amp X, where this is another level. It's a full different universe, I have to say. But
so this happened because you got in contact with Jusen Kettner as a player, as a demonstrator for their products.
Yeah, and so I tried to make money. with anything I could do. So playing gigs, playing studio, doing a few tours, being paid, and demonstrating amplifiers. And then the amp thing got even more and more intense, and I had conflicts. I was demoing for Hughes and Kettner, and then I was winning the Strat King Award, and then I had to say, "Hey guys, at Hughes and Kettner, I have to go and get that award because in my musician's career this will never happen again."
Yeah.
Which never will happen again to anyone because there was only one competition to do that. So I was having a hard fight, but I postponed my trip to China factory for quality inspection for using Kettner back in the days to be able to receive my Strat King award.
But what was the amp designing thing? Was it something that you did like intentionally, or was it? I mean, was it always your plan to make money with that?
No, the amp thing started as a hobby before I was even playing the guitar, because I was hi-fi amp twiddler and made a few amps for my listening pleasure at home. Because back in last century, people listen to records and CDs, which is again a huge difference from today, because paying $32.99 for a CD means you buy a CD, you put it onto your disc player, and you have a ceremony of listening to the music, either with really listening to the lyrics or really enjoying.
Yeah.
And today it's kind of put on your phone and go somewhere and have some music in the background.
You don't even buy it anymore. If you know that it's there. You just open whatever, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, type it in, and it's there.
And just to make my story short, is like I was at the peak of that industry thing, and I've seen it, and I played in front of 120,000 people, and I had all the highest money that you could make in this business. Maybe not the very highest, but I was
you were making decent money.
Decent money, and I was signing for tours, which means you had to sign and said, I'm there for all the dates that you book me. You have first priority, and therefore you had a contract, and then you were given the dates, and then you had to perform. And you were kind of a contractor. Not saying a slave, because it was well paid and it was a fair deal, so no complaints about it. But what I learned is it took me 5 years to get the money for my biggest tour with Tic Tac Toe, because the band split up. There was a contract and we had to go to court to get the money, and then they went for the next level, and we were losing, and this was against the lawyers of Michael Jackson. And then at the third level, we had the full risk. We were winning again, and this was the end. So we got our money. But
so this is just about the money for the shows that you had played.
Yes.
So you had done your job.
Yeah.
You just didn't get paid, and you had to go to court
to get the money.
To get your money for something that you already had done.
So this is something. Tough. This is something I learned, and from this experience is like, okay, guys. This industry can be great, but if you have a problem, you make it my problem. So this was a very intense moment for me, thinking about, is it cool to be dependent, or do you want to do smaller things where you have more control? And then after reaching that top level, I found a few other offers, but they were so low, I decided, you know what, I do my own music. If you only give me 300 whatever euros a night, and I have to sign for it, hey, I can have fun with my own band and maybe make 250. So who give a fuck about the 50?
Yeah.
And sell off some of my CDs, and that makes the 50 extra. So this was my kind of business case, up to the point where I decided, I'm stepping out of this industry, because that industry that was nice to work for, I'm out. there was another experience. I've been a producer for this and some other projects. And this was kind of the dream back then. If you are a producer, you make millions. We were in the charts and I didn't make millions. So, forget it. And another thing is being a writer. The best thing I've ever done was this ARD, first German television. It is it's like the state television with 16 broadcast stations over Germany.
Oh, I have no idea. What? I think it's less than that, but
13,
something.
more than 10.
Because
Yeah.
some states have a combined one.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
And this was kind of a movie score for that TV series, which has been on the first German television and then being repeated in the third channels and stuff like that. This made a lot of money. I'm talking six-figure numbers. I mean,
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But I had even to fight for getting the money from these guys as well.
Is that one song or is that a whole album?
This was a whole album, and it was kind of all the music in all the episodes. I think it was 6 episodes of maybe half an hour or something. So I wrote the indicative, the intro song. I wrote the outro song. I wrote the music in between and the action and all the themes.
Like the whole score for everything basically. Yeah.
So writing was a way to get income and actually as good as touring and studio together, or maybe. And then I thought, you know what? Let's do more writing. And I've done some library music, which is music that you produce for a publisher. And the publisher is using or spreading out this music to television stations or production companies that do video. And so I have done 2 of these albums. And some of the music has been used on SpongeBob, which still makes me money because SpongeBob is a classic. It's not much. It's only a little snippet. Yeah. But I get from Indonesia SpongeBob Schwammkopf. Nice. Every year. It's at least 3.5 pizzas from SpongeBob. And then I had a huge success for Vic Medi-Night, which was a spray for your nose in wintertime. Because this was
if you have a cold, it's something. Yeah.
So makes you breathe easier. And this was we can show you the covers. I have done these 2 CDs. One is the White Strap Magic and the other one is the Living Guitars. And it's like, I think 30 maybe different tracks of music and a lot of edits for advertising things. Yeah, so in the end, there was the writing side. And then I came to the point, everything got more and more complicated. It's like there was my lawsuit with the touring, and then I had a GEMA lawsuit going on to get the money that I had to own. And then it's like you have such a high number, like 6-figure number. You have a lawyer that takes half of it, and then you get all the money that you would have got over a 5, 6, 10 years period in once. And then the tax office, German tax says, okay, the other half is for me. So out of, like, let's say almost 100,000, I made only 25,000.
Wow.
That
sucks, yeah.
And then I said, fuck all that shit, fuck this touring, fuck this writing. You know what? I do the amps now. And this is something, it's hardware. This is why we are not doing any software amps, because this is physical. This is like a CD for me, An amp one is just like a CD. We have a black one and we have a silver one. Yeah, Uwe Ochsentech, a silver one, and do we have a black one? I don't know. But the thing is, this is hardware, and this is a product that will not devaluate. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the philosophy of BluGuitar to have that. And I do my music, but not as first priority anymore. You know, I stepped out a big touring business, and then I started with my Thomas Blue band, and with 10 years with Thijs van Leer, and many projects, and I've done my own songs with Dreist, and blah, blah, blah. And lately, I scaled down to what I call the Rock Anarchy. It's basically a 3-piece band that can, in the smallest version, can play with a local drummer. So, you know, fuel prices are high. We can get, there's always a good local drummer in Hamburg or in Stuttgart.
Sure.
And it's nice to meet different people. And then the bass player and singer Gulli is, we drive with one car, and we have very small gear. Even him as a bass player has a TC Electronics thing that works fine.
Cable out of the way.
Yeah, and yeah, it is economically kind of efficient now, and it's also stressless. So for me, it's anarchy means I can be myself, I can be free, I can do whatever I want. I can play the songs that we don't even have a set list anymore. It's like we go on stage, and this is it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And then if somebody wants something special, we can have guests and invite people like Tony Curry, which I just played on Friday, and we'll play again in Tettnang. You can see on my website. And you know, this is kind of celebrities that we can invite, or we can have other guitar players like Jennifer Batten or Mick Rogers from Manfred Mann's Earth Band. We've done tons of that. So this was my answer to the whole thing.
So you're closer to doing what you like and being yourself.
Yes.
Today than you have been back in the day.
So that's my story. But what is your story, Kai?
For me, music, I mean, it's always been around, but it's never been my first priority. When I decided what to do after I had graduated from school, I had many friends already back in the day who were full-time musicians, and who had to do everything they could just to get enough money to survive.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be in that position. So I decided back then it's gonna be a hobby or the secondary thing I'll do, but it's not gonna be my first priority. So I did something else, but very quickly also landed in the music industry at using Kettner back in the day.
Yeah.
I was in the sales department and later in the product management for some other stuff. So my professional career had something to do with music, although I was not playing music.
Yeah.
But on the side, I started my first own band when I was 14. And we wrote our own stuff. And then when I finished college actually, I stopped playing I stopped playing original music, and I started playing in a lot of cover bands, which was easy money back in the day.
Yeah, I remember those times too.
Yeah, because those were good times. I remember that one band that I was in. Every town, every village that had a little like a Turnhalle, what's that?
Yeah, sports.
Yeah, so like
hall.
Something
Did his
like
own
that.
festival.
Yeah.
Fest.
I think we played every single village, and the place was always packed. There was always two bands, and no matter who it was always packed. It was always a great party, and that lasted for a couple of years, and it was great fun.
Yeah.
And then I think I experienced something similar to what you did, on a different level, of course. I started missing being myself.
Yeah.
As a guitar player, for example, until that day, I had no idea of what my tone was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what I wanted to sound like. I had no idea about it. And this is when I was over 30 already. So I started thinking about that at a pretty late age, and that was when I decided, I decided to write my own music again. I decided to make a record with my own music, and as a result of that, I quit my day job,
which was at Houston Kettner.
which was at Houston Kettner back in the day. Yes.
Yeah. And then you started really to work on your own music and with whatever comes along with it, which means writing your own songs, learning how to produce, finding the right people, finding the right band.
Exactly.
Out of the musicians that you knew from the top 40 days, probably, I know some of the guys.
Yeah. At first, it was that pool that I could pick from, of course.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it's the way it is. You do something, you are on the road, you meet people, you make connections, your network grows, and that's how it happens. But in my case, doing my original music again is not something that I really make money with. So I had to get back to a day job,
which is at BluGuitar.
Yeah, well, that's actually not true. And I could make enough money back in the day with all the cover stuff. The BluGuitar thing was, I remember this very, very exactly. You told me about your project.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I need something to do except for playing music, because my days were too long back in the day, because I wasn't having a good time. And that's how it started, and we didn't even talk about money. But in the end, it became, a serious
job.
source of income for me again, and a serious job, which allows me now to do more of my original music than back in the day.
Right.
And now I'm in the same place. I'm closer to myself and to what I like and to what my heart is beating for than I was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important on every level in life, actually.
Yeah.
You need to do something that makes you happy.
For me, I don't regret any of the experience I made playing top 40 or being the touring player for Rainbirds and Purple Schulz, which was great times at that time.
Yeah.
So for now, it's like next level, but under the perspective, what is about me? My life is what am I doing with my life? So, and there's a few things you have to do, and one of the things is maybe you have to do your own music, maybe not. So we have some similarities here, but maybe on the other hand, there is also. You are currently recording a new album. You are currently playing gigs in different situations. And how does this work for you? I mean, you also do acoustic gigs a lot. Why? Because it's probably more efficient. One guy.
It's exactly the same thing as what you explained with your Rock Anarchy.
Yeah.
I never planned on doing that. I remember many years ago I was invited to something called Song and Talk or Sing and Talk. I'm not sure. It's you play 3 songs and then you do an interview. And I went there just with my acoustic guitar, played 3 songs of mine, and then after that, I had some requests.
Yeah.
Can you play there? Can you play? Yeah. And that's how it all started. And now I'm doing it a lot because it is efficient.
Yeah.
Because I don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
I can play on my own. I have my acoustic guitar. I have loop station. I sing.
Yeah.
And I can make more money than with a duo or with a 4-piece.
Yeah.
So, that's why I do that. But of course, playing with other people and the interaction is a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I still do my own stuff and I still play live. I'm not making money with it because that's the other thing. I want to have good people in my band.
Yeah.
So I have professional people in my band.
And
they play at a special rate for me.
Yeah. But still.
I still.
Yeah.
Have to. I want to pay them, and I want to pay them in a decent way. So.
Yeah. Same here. I cannot do that price dumping thing.
Yeah,
There is a limit to the whole thing, which ends up in having probably a fewer gigs, but at a realistic way.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's always if you play a show where people have to pay to get in, it doesn't only help you with paying your musicians. It's going to be a better show, because that's the same with, back in the day, you bought a CD, you sat down, you paid your money for it, you sat down, you listened to it. If you play at some random place and people don't have to pay to see you, they're not going to pay attention.
Yeah.
So, if you play in the middle of nowhere and it costs $20, the people that come there and pay to see you play, they want to hear you play.
Exactly.
And that's always,
Value.
Exactly.
Emotional value as well,
Yeah,
because this is what it's about. It's not you make noise and the other guy say, can you put the music a little lower because we want to talk, you know? It's I hate that, you know.
And that's my progression. I used to do that, and I used to take that as a challenge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna get you all to listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm way too old for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. If you don't want to listen, then don't. But then please go.
Yeah, sure. It's cool. But okay, this is all part of straight decisions taken by you to make a situation that gives you the chance to be yourself and do music that you want to do. But just discussing on options that we have. I have we know a lot of mutual friends and people that are teachers. Giving lessons is an option. Have you done something like that? Probably not.
I have in my very early days.
Yeah, just to make money.
Just to make money. Yeah.
Same here, by the way. And I have a few interesting people that ended up in the industry. One is Christian Konrad, who is working at 6 and 4 nowadays.
Local music store here.
The other one is Frank Post with Looper's Paradise, just here, and some more, which I probably forgot because I was young and needed the money. But it was cool. I was a teacher at the age of I learned 3 more chords and then I started to be a teacher. I'm coming from a teacher background family, so I'm used to that. But it seemed to work, and I learned a lot doing teaching. So for me, being a teacher sometimes is also something positive because I can give something.
Yeah.
Depending, again, like on the audience, if you have people that really appreciate it. So for me, it's important that when I teach, the people really want to learn from me. I wouldn't try to teach to death and mentally disabled people that don't get anything. This is no fun.
That's the reason why I quit teaching, because I did it because my guitar teacher, I think he went on summer holiday, and he asked me if I could step in for him.
Yeah.
So I did, and then the owner of that music school asked me if I wanted a regular job. And my experience was that there was a lot of kids there, and a lot of them have been sent by their parents.
Yeah.
Either that, or they were that kind of, I wanna be able to play guitar, but I'm not willing to learn.
And I'm not willing to work for anything. Yeah.
So that's the tough one.
For me, this is another very important decision. If you can raise that level to where it makes sense for you. I mean, if I'm happy if I can give something to the class or the person that I teach, and I can get the feedback that it really helps them and that they are happy with my whatever I tell them, lesson tricks or blah blah blah. So that's very rewarding.
Absolutely.
And that's why I still do and I have done things like that. This is like the old school way. Oops. Guitar. I created a lot of CDs no, DVDs, sorry. How to learn how to play Pink Floyd. And it's always good for yourself because then you have to learn how to play like Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, Rory Gallagher, or Nirvana. And The Edge, Van Halen, Slash is on this episode. Anyway, there's like 5 of these. This one is, yeah, anyway. And I have a new one that I have done with the Guitar Summit, the organization that makes the beautiful event in Mannheim. This will be the new digital format online coming this fall. So we are talking fall 2022. And this sums up a lot of my experience, and the team that really was there shooting the video, they said, wow, finally I understand this, because my method is I'm basically self-taught, and a few things are a lot easier than most people think. And it's like at the beginning it's kind of, what is he telling me about? But after they have filmed the lesson, it's like, interesting.
Is this about modes and scales?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
thing.
I remember that you had this.
Yeah,
This,
this is one thing, and
special approach. Yeah.
and there's I have a few things which are special. The modes is one, because there's some people like Rick Beato who is great, but he has like, okay, we are talking about, you know, Mixolydian blah blah, and we hear the intervals, which means the minor 7 and the major 3rd and blah blah blah. I understand the whole thing by now as well, but when I was a teenager, I wasn't thinking that way, but I was making music, and how my thoughts are so simple, but the way it gave me direct access without having the brain blocking me. And this is my basic learning curve that I had myself, was not being blocked by my mind fuck. And so all my teaching, or my self-teaching, was in a flow, and I didn't even notice that I was practicing and learning. I just had fun with it. And that's part of my theory that I can teach now. And then some people get it, and it's like, yeah, and they have positive results that they can apply to their way. With some people, it's hard because they are already trained in the overthinking way. It's kind of too late.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, guys, you know, I have to make you drunk or whatever. You know, we start from a scratch, from a clean page, and try again to walk. Learn to walk fresh.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I'm saying here is teaching in whatever way, if it's YouTube, online courses, you know, there are people like Tim Pierce, that famous Tim Pierce studio musician in Los Angeles that played on Bon Jovi's Runaway.
Runaway. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Richie Sambora. This was the day when.
That was before the guy even had the band.
Yeah, this was just the singer,
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
and a few guys in the studio,
Yeah.
and you know, Tim Pierce was that studio guitar player that played that solo, and well, the good old days of having this many well-paid studio gigs is even over for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still in the business, but from what I see, and I'm speak with him occasionally at NAMM, or even was at his home once, I learned that it's not heavily booked like every day 8 hours and the full thing. No, it's I mean, he also picks the right things to do,
Yeah.
and build a real solid foundation with his tutorials. So this is some place where people went. When you think about what works for you, I mean, there's the emotional side, which gives you the reward, but what is the thing? What is working for you in the compromise of making some money and still not sacrificing the love for your passion, which is a fragile thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've been there too, where I thought, I can play whatever you want, but if I hate what you ask me to do, I shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
And
because it's not going to sound good.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I decided, let me be myself, and if somebody wants that, I'm happy to do that. And I still guest on some friends' albums here, and there's mainly guitar players, but it's. I mean, if Sting would call me and has a great song, I would say yes, because it would be nice if he would see that. But I'm not looking for that anymore. It's not like, oh, can you have a job for me to play some guitar over it? I've done that, and at the peak, I managed to record a whole album with all the tracks, acoustic guitars, stereo doubling, electric guitar solos, fills, thrills, and whatnot, in a whole day. So this was my, drive out, pack up my car, go into the studio, come home after midnight, like 3 next morning. But the whole album was finished, just like routine job.
Yeah.
Give me the chords and make the click as loud as you can, so I'm in time. And then, okay, next track, next. I don't even care about the song. I mean, I can do that, or I could do that. Maybe not anymore.
I think that's exactly the balance that's going on there. And on the one hand, there's your passion and what you love to do and what you put your heart into, and the other thing is the challenge to be a professional musician and to do a good job at that profession.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it on a completely different level, but I also sometimes do stuff that the reason why I'm doing it is just because I'm challenging myself. Can I do a good job at this?
Yeah.
Although it's not my passion.
Yeah.
I wrote some stuff for genres of music that I'm not into at all. But the mere fact that I'm not into it was a challenge for me. So
I produced music. This is a summer hit in German for the German things, to Hawaii. I mean, it's so odd. It's great. It's hilarious. But okay, this was a challenge for me. Can I be a record producer on Aloha Records?
Yeah.
Flying to Hawaii, recording and mixing in Germany and stuff like that, and being on television and in the charts.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. I've been there, done that, and I know it's something for other people.
yeah, yeah, same here. And I think it works as long as you can stay in the background.
Yeah.
As soon as you have to step out and sell the shit,
Yeah.
then it gets a tough one. That's why I play guitar and I sing, and I could play guitar on something that I don't like, but I can't do it as a singer. As soon as I don't connect with the song,
You suck.
I'm just not doing.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I challenged myself to do that, but if I'm honest, I don't want to put the energy into that anymore as well.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, it takes so much energy to overcome that extra level to be worth the money they pay you.
Yeah.
I mean, I always have a bad feeling if you get money for shit. So I'm not happy to deliver shit. So if somebody asks me to do something, I say yes or no. But if I say yes, I try to deliver. And,
exactly.
And that's my own attitude problem then.
Yeah.
And
So you probably do not do stuff that you don't have a passion for, just to make the money.
No, these days are over, and luckily I managed to have my life in a way that I never went bankrupt. I had phases with a bit more money and less money, and bigger cars and smaller cars, and I always had a car. But today I could do it even without a car. Mentally, I'm prepared. Even, if I would go bankrupt, I would be still happy today if I had no car and no money. Because of I know what I want to do and what I do with my time. So for me, when you're younger, I was more, am I good enough? Maybe I have to prove myself that I can do this and that.
Yeah.
But this is all gone. I've been there, and I know there are always people that are better, but there's a lot of people that are not even able to do that, what I have done. So I'm
And it's not always, but I think this is important too. It's not always, well, it's in general not about being the best. It's good if you have something good to offer.
Exactly.
That excites a lot of people, but it's actually it's just about, you know, if you have a passion for it and if you are authentic,
Yeah.
then you're gonna touch people, and as soon as you touch people,
Yeah.
that's the reason to do it.
Yeah. Okay, back to how to be or how to live or succeed in the music business or in the reality of 2022. What I learned is, hey guys, it's all about social media these days. I mean, I do have 4 Facebook profiles, I think, or maybe 5. So we all know each other on some of my profiles. But why? Because we need to spread the word of gigs when you play, that people get the message of, hey, I have this show next whenever month.
I mean, there's the good and the bad. The good is that you have more control over what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can release your own music without a record company, you know, with the help of social media and YouTube and whatnot. You can promote what you do without having a promoting company or a record company. Back in the day, you were reliant on them. If they didn't do their job properly, nobody knew that you were playing.
Exactly.
Today, you can take care of it yourself.
Yeah.
The downside is
You have to
take
do
care of it yourself.
Same here. You know, I spend probably half of my day doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Being working on stuff that so that in the end I can do what I want. And that comes to the music, because who is my booker? Maybe me. Sometimes Gulli, you know, my partner in crime for the Rock Anarchy, which is great. But so I'm the booking company. Next is, who is making the accountant after the gigs for our several drummers? Okay, and well, who is paying the money? Who is sending the posters? I mean, I'm happy with Gulli because in the end, he is good enough to actually help me and do stuff.
Yeah.
And I can trust him that things gets done.
Yeah.
Because in the end,
That's very helpful.
yeah, because if you do that stuff yourself, because you don't have a record deal and you have no promotion company and all that stuff, and you have to do it yourself, if you delegate it and it's not being done, that's the worst for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel so bad if I come to a show and see no posters, and I hate it, guys. If you're watching, if I send the posters myself, which I do a lot, many times for most of the shows, it's me packing them up, putting the address down there, and then what happens is, if I don't see the posters, I'm pissed. So because there was your chance.
Yeah.
And I talk to, how many do you need? No, what helps? I want to support the whole thing as good as I can.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we are spending we're spending a lot of time to get things to the level that it actually happens in a almost successful way, or we have the chance to be successful with it.
Yeah.
Or professional.
Yeah, and this applies to everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's if you write your own music, you make sure you write a good song.
Yeah.
Make sure you write good lyrics. Make sure you record them in the proper way. Make
Yeah.
sure you have the right musicians. You
Yeah.
book the right musicians.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a good producer. And then when everything is done and you get out and play, make sure you find the right locations and make sure they do a good job on promoting the gig.
Yeah. So, question: how do you book your gigs? I mean, do you have a strategy?
It's well, I have two setups, so to say. I can play on my own, and I can bring my band. And what I usually do is I watch other people that are on my level or that play similar music, and see where they play.
Of course.
And then try to contact either the bands if I know them and ask them, what would you recommend?
Yeah.
Or just call the club or try to
Yeah.
call the club and
Which is hard thing.
yeah, it is. It is.
Called.
And the thing is, I was on tour a couple of years ago with as a support act with a pretty famous German band. We played all over Germany. The
Yeah.
result was we had fans all over Germany in every city, not more than 2 probably, but we had fans all over Germany. So we thought we have to tour Germany now, which is a very hard thing to do if you have no connections. And we didn't manage to do it because we didn't have the connections. And then in the end, we played a club tour, a regional club tour,
Yeah.
in some local and regional clubs. And I felt for myself that's exactly what I want to do, because you play there for the first time and there's, I don't know, 20 people coming. The chance to play there the year later is a lot higher than the first time because the guy knows you.
Sure.
And the chances are he's going to book you again. And if you do that a couple of years in a row,
Yeah.
you're going to build your audience.
Yeah.
And then you have to find the right places where you can go back over and over again. Maybe not every year, maybe every second year. Have a couple of those, and that's going to make it work. That makes it work for me.
But in the end, you are responsible for so many things. That's the point.
Yes.
It is like you have to take care of everything, and everything needs to be at a professional level. Otherwise, you're losing the momentum and you lose the gig,
Yeah.
which is then gone.
Yeah.
And that's that's the thing. Okay.
And unfortunately, all my attempts to delegate that stuff or to give it in somebody else's hands
Didn't
they
work.
didn't succeed. And I always hear Neil Young's words, because Neil Young said, if you want to get it done in a properly,
Do it yourself.
do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, here, same thing myself. I learned it the hard way. I had sometimes people that helped me, and but the main stuff is more efficient. On the one hand, I'm happy because it's the modern technology is quite interactive and pretty fast. So we don't have to write letters to an office and make huge meetings. We just go online and do the post and bam and spread it and send an email and whatever. So if you are multitasking, phone here, phone there, you can do it.
Yeah.
But this is what it takes today, I believe. And you have to use the modern platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, too old, but that's probably, the stuff that you have to be an expert. And for all the people that just watch us as being the great guitar amp company or fans of the music, behind the scenes, this is the reality today. And it's actually, it is what it is. It's in certain aspects it's better than in the past. In other aspects, it hurts that certain things are the way they are, but there's no way back.
Yeah.
And even at a company, we don't have a secretary anymore these days, because the moment you explain something to somebody else, you have done it already. It's like not needed.
Yeah.
So unless somebody would do stuff in the way that you said, oh, thank you, you've done it.
And you've done it better than I would have done it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you are that kind of person, contact us. We need people that have that level. Anything else, stay customers. We do it for you. Well, anyway, but that's the way. Back to the music. One more time is like, there's the writing aspect. Talking about writing, did you talk to publishing companies or what was your attempt there?
I did, but again, my experiences were not really good. Well, okay, there's two things. The first situation was we had a record that was already done.
Yeah.
Talked to a publishing company and to a what's Verlag in English?
Publisher.
Is that's
It's
yeah, this is a
publisher.
publisher. Okay. And that was not a success story for us
you?
because they took the money and never did anything. And
Yeah.
when we asked for a report, you know, what did you do for the money we gave you? Nothing.
Yeah.
So that sucked. On the other hand, that same company
Yeah.
worked with other publishers, and they have a pool of writers. And
Yeah.
they gave me some writing, actually not writing jobs, but writing
Options.
options.
So you could write something, and then if somebody likes it, they take it.
I was able to be part of a pitch.
Yeah.
So I
And
wrote.
Did
I
they
wrote a
pay
couple
you a fixed amount of money to
No.
do it? So that was all your risk.
It was all my
See,
risk,
guys,
yeah.
how if you have a proper job, stay there.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, it was I didn't know who I was writing for in the beginning, but then I asked a couple of questions because I needed to know more about the artist.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're writing lyrics, you need
Sure.
to know how old is he or she,
Yeah.
what would he or she write about,
Yeah.
and then when those
Questions
were
came-
answered, I knew who it was
Yeah.
without the name ever being
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And if my songs had landed on that production, I probably would have made some money,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is how hard the business is.
Yeah.
And actually, it was like that in the past too. I can tell you, there's back in the good old days, in the like 80s and 90s, the companies had so much money that publishers had also budgets to invest into writers, and they would pay you a certain fixed amount of money that gives you security, but you have to provide a certain amount of songs, and if they are not really happening, they kick you out again. But these days are over. There's always exception to this kind of rule.
Yeah.
But on a certain level, this is the reality we have to face. And I learned sometimes it's good to have smaller things that are more realistic than the big dream things like being the producer of hits and making gold records. And then thinking, oh, I made $1 million and then I can do whatever I want. That's teenage thinking. It's like, do the thing that you want and
Yeah.
try to survive with it and maybe grow with it.
The next thing,
And do it anyway.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The next thing that has changed in that matter is that the money is not going to the writers and the artists anymore. It's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends who wrote some hit singles for,
Yeah.
and they still drive a golf car.
Yeah.
And you know, they didn't make that much money with it. The
Yeah.
money goes somewhere else. Money goes to the big companies.
Yeah.
I just last week I saw something how much all the streaming platforms pay the writers for one stream, and it's 0.0001 cents
Yeah.
per stream.
Yeah.
So
Hey, and this is wrong.
it is.
It is wrong because I want to pay 0.000 for my tax. I want to pay 0.000 for my fuel. I want to pay anything in this kind of. This is disrespectful for music.
Absolutely.
And this is something that needs to be changed in politics. And we all have been fooled by this digital revolution that gives a lot of opportunities, but it's like, you know, in the state we have to reorganize things and protect certain values, and our organizations are too slow.
Yeah.
That's my personal.
Not only on that matter, not only, you know, music and owner rights and stuff like that, but everything that has to do with
Digital.
digitalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, much too slow.
Yeah. So, and that's the other side of the coin. Because the world is going digital, you can make the progress by using digital tools like these platforms and do your own marketing, which would have cost hundred thousands. You know, I think we don't even invest into paid ads for our BluGuitar products. It's an exception. Usually we just provide the content, and it's kind of just the amount of time that we invest in producing the content. But it's not like we pay 100,000 for the print in the Vogue magazine or whatever. and this was the only source for a certain kind of people that would be interested in that kind of thing. So well, things have changed. What you have to understand is you have to be modern, and you have to accept the reality, and you have to go with what is your option, and the rest is make the music because you want to make the music and don't expect too much.
Make the music you want to make, and
Yeah.
and try to enjoy it as much as you can. And
Yeah.
if you don't enjoy it, think about alternative options.
Yeah, your life is definitely too short for bad compromises, I would say.
Yeah.
And
And too short for bad wine too. by the way.
yeah, yeah. So hey, thanks, Kai, for having that kind of discussion a little bit. If you have more questions, yeah, write to us on YouTube at bluguitar.com. It's an open thing that ever evolves, because next year there might be some changes, there might be a new platform, and the next trends can help you. On the other hand, I guess we are more conservative, or maybe old school in a way, handmade music, real singing, not too much auto tune, and all that kind of. So we are living kind of a little bit in the old world, but we can still survive in the new world, adapting to the modern reality.
Yeah, adapting to a certain level as long as you can,
Yeah.
stay true to yourself.
Yeah. And this is what we all have to live with. We, as the guys who do it, and maybe you guys that attend to do concerts, or maybe you with your own band, and
Some of you probably more successful than at least me.
sure. And I'm happy for everybody that can still have success. That's so important. And I'm even happy for the Rolling Stones. And if you have to pay 550 euros for a ticket, I think it's a bit too high for me. I'm happy for the Rolling Stones as they are, but what I don't like is kind of this black and white thing, black and silver thing. If there is not enough money for the small bands anymore, and this is what we should get in balance,
Yeah.
and we need the help, a little bit of politics for that, because it's part of our culture, as you said, playing all these venues, the fests, and it's bringing people together. It's kind of socializing. It's very important for the society in a way, and even if that kind of old school thing is changing a bit towards a DJ here and there and some live music in there, we should keep that culture vital in the whole variety of styles, because that's part of our culture.
It is.
And I'm totally supporting that, classical music gets supports, but I'm a bit criticizing how much certain people get in this genre versus how little people get in our genre.
Yeah.
And I wish politics would be balancing that out, to have, or to keep that variety from classical to the most modern stuff. So, okay, any thoughts? Let us know in the comments. And I think Kai is on the way for the next gig.
Gotta go.
See you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, there are a few gigs coming up in my calendar, actually quite a lot. And this made me think of how to prepare. This is this month, August. There's a tour with Ben Granfeld coming up, and there is some special concerts with My Rock Anarchy with special guest Tony Carey, former member of Rainbow, and he's quite a huge solo artist as well. Then there's the whole Guitar Summit with Jeff Loomis, Henrik Freischlader, I don't know, 20 people, different songs, and all that stuff needs to be prepared. So, how to deal with that? And I think I follow a very practical path here. The first thing is I have to fix the logistics, which means, okay, I have to set all the gigs and I have to set all the travel arrangements that I need to make, like hotels and who drives with who and what time do we arrive. So this kind of is the first step. The second is social media, which means if you have a gig coming up and if there's no promotion, nobody will be interested to see it because nobody knows. So the next step you are doing is, well, sharing posts from your friends or doing things like little stories about each individual gig. So you can have a combined post with like 4 gigs or the tour is coming up. I can show you here, for instance, that what I've done on the Facebook side. It's loading slow. And then, repeat the same thing with maybe individual gigs. Yeah, so here you can see, there's several. Wait a minute, I have to go into my timeline because that's in proper order. So here we go. So this, for instance, is a post that I've done, or let's show it to this camera, with all the gigs. This shows all the gigs we are doing. And this is actually, I will be live streaming from one of the gigs as well with Ben Granfeld, myself, Martin Engelin, and Tommy Fischer. So this is like 10 tour dates coming up. But on the other hand, at the same times, I have to manage my other gigs with Tony Carey. I have to manage the gigs for the electric party of the Guitar Summit. So there is not only one process going on, but for all the things that are happening, I follow these rules. Fix the dates, fix the logistics, make the posts so that everybody knows there are the gigs. And then it comes to my side, well, what are we playing? So let's work on a set list. And this is the set list that I agreed on to play with Ben Granfeld. So I know what is on the list. And then the next thing is, do I know the song? Have I played it with him before? Maybe I have forgotten, which is very, very likely because my head is full of shit. And sometimes I forgot about songs or, little parts within the song. So I need to revisit the whole thing if it's not my rock anarchy. In rock anarchy, I can live off my short-term, long-term memory, and if I don't know the next part of the songs, I simply play a different song, for instance. But to do a proper tour with original material, it should be prepared. So first step is getting a set list, maybe printed out. That helps me to get a visual feel of how much it is and how to learn the songs. One thing is working fine with me. I learn songs very well when I'm in bed before I go to sleep. So my brain kind of can reflect the whole thing while sleeping. During the time I'm too busy, too many phone calls and, company things and stuff like that. So there's not much time to really get in the zone of learning stuff. But for me, it works like best at night to listen to the songs and then wake up in the morning and revisit them and see what part is missing and then adding that to it. And that's that's helping. That's a way how, if I have enough time to learn the songs without sacrificing a whole day for preparation or learning songs. But looking at this set list here, there's a lot of things that look familiar to me, but there's also new stuff. And there is some stuff that I already know that I have forgotten, because there are some weird parts and harmonies, twin harmonies with the guitars that it's like, what was my voice? Is it this one? And how to phrase it. So this needs to be revisited. And so I probably pick one or two songs that are easy, just listen to them. Sometimes I even go on YouTube with my phone and see our, some recordings on YouTube that somebody took, or listen to the original track from the album and just play along with the guitar dry and see what it is. Well, it could be something like Ben Granfeld. Oh, fuck, my mobile. Da-da. And I have his version of Baker Street. And I tell you, I already know. I play the intro because I've done, but I forgot the intro mellow. Okay, guitars tuning.
As I said, it's really nice to be back. We love this place. We love the stairs. It's really nice to carry all this shit up. And then take it back down. But okay, down you can go.
Okay.
3 or 4 and 2.
Let's check. Okay, there's this weird part at the beginning. Well, of course, Ben takes the easy shit, but I have to. I play the one part and he plays the other part. Nothing is easy. So I know without double checking the melody, I wouldn't be able to play it. So better to spend a few minutes to refresh my memory so I have that melody back. The rest of the song is easy peasy. So I already know where the obstacles are, where the critical moments come. And if a song is totally fresh for me, of course, I have to learn it. And the way I do that is I write my own sheets. And the sheets, if I'm well organized, I throw them in this kind of file. And you can find tons of set lists from several, gigs that I've played. And this is, for instance, a very simple Rock Anarchy one. Is this with... Yeah, Rather Go Blind, Help With My Friends, License to Kill. This was Rock Anarchy meeting James Bond, for instance. So, see, this is the set list, and this are the notes. This is as small as I can still read things. It's actually almost too small. So what I'm doing is, if I have to make sheets, I write huge letters which just give me the chords and make strange signs on this is pushed. It's like, don't play it on the 1, play it on the 4, just before the 1. And the rest is kind of normal, and green means clean sound, red overdrive, and the rest is kind of a few chords. Less information is easier to read. So this is my message here. And how to prepare for the gigs? Well, I look at all my different gigs, and then there's things like, it comes handy just in case. Are we playing Highway Star in the original version? Ta-da! And here is the keyboard solo, which has odd meters, not odd meters, but 20 bars, not 16. So I have no idea. But if I need to play the Highway Star original version, I just grab it from my notes here and count the bars and see, it's 20 bars and this is the rest. That's enough for me to remind me what is going on. And here, see, this is some of Ben's music. Almighty Blues, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, there is original music coming up with Tony Carey. So let me see if I found... there is Stargazer. Of course, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow Stargazer. And this is all I need to know. There is the riff twice. And then there's the run. Lauf is the run in German. And there's the first verse, STR1, Strophe 1 for me. And then there comes the vocal part, all I see. Here are the notes, single notes that I have to play. Where do we go is the next part. And there's another riff that I kind of notated here. And then there's this little part in the middle section. And that's all I need to know. Less is more. There's Catch the Rainbow in case we do this one. But then there's songs that are written by Tony, which is like Room with a View. This is all you need to know. So I will put this on stage, look at it and say, I'm good to go. There is a solo which has a different mode. The usual mode is E minor, but the solo goes to E Dorian. Yeah, and then there's stuff that he wrote or printed out for me. This is kind of his notation keyboard style, with little runs and stuff like that. But I can't read my eyes are good, but not good enough to see this when this is on the floor. So basically it's almost only good for me to learn the song or look at it, and then if I need notes, make my own bigger letter notes to do that, like these ones. Anyway. And I even have some notation for friends that play with me, that when they have to learn my songs, and there's and the heavy parts and the structure and the chords. So it's always a good thing to have something in your hand to discuss the form, the shape of the song, and the order of chords and where we are. Are we first part, second part? So that's probably my strategy for preparing songs. I don't have much time to prepare sets, or you guys are probably well spoiled in a way with time for having fun with your band and even rehearsing. We have no time for rehearsals, and if the pros go on stage, they usually use the time on the sound check to do the rehearsal, and there's not that much time before. Sometimes I do, but very rare. So it needs to be well prepared, and it needs to be efficient. That's what I learned. Okay. On the other hand, I also have to check my gear, which means my Strat, my guitar. So, first thing you could hear is like my scratchy volume control. I've been much worse than this, which means I leave it as it is and do it next year. For now, it's kind of, it just adds a touch of scratchiness for the intro of the noise, of the note. Yeah. Next thing is strings. Well, I should change the strings because I have been using them a lot. Maybe I can just change one so you know what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I'm pretty brutal. What I do is I simply cut the string like this and then bam off next. And then I don't have an open pack of strings here. What about this one? So I get a B string out because that's the one that I cut. And here's the way how I do it. No, I need the string. This goes. Okay. There's no magic by just make sure there is no ball end left in the trem. That happens a lot with broken strings. Once the string is broken, then the ball end is sometimes stuck inside the block. So this is no mystery, but just to show you again, see, this is the headstock and this is the tuner for the B. What I do is kind of 2 extra tuning machines length. So I would cut it like here. This gives me hopefully the right length for the string. So stick it in, bend it over, make a sharp edge inside the string, and then I even go in the slot of the machine head that is even giving it a stronger hold, since now we have like at least 3 wrinkles or like 3 edges on that string. So well, I'm looking around for my tuner here, what is it called, the doodle. Doodle is a local slang word for winder, string winder. Okay, this is already too high. It's a C, but we want a B, so I stretch it. I stretch it down here, and I stretch it up there, and then yeah, seems to be in tune and it stays in tune. Why? Because it's so important to have the string tight connected to the machine head with making this kind of angles, you know, that helps. I don't need it for the thick strings, but I do this extra slot thing on the B and the high E string on the strat, just for safety reasons. I learned that this is stable. Sometimes if you wouldn't do it, then it kind of could open and then the string is lost. Forget it. The next thing I'm checking is, okay, you can hear my strat hum, single coils. Let's go in the in-between position, and then the click. That's a friction thing. So my question is, where is it? It's not that bad, but I try to feel it with my fingers, which string is kind of stuck. Oh, now it's not doing it anymore. It knows exactly that I'm trying to get it. No, see? This guitar is perfect. Ah, maybe, maybe not. Ah, good enough. So in case one of these strings would stuck, you could feel it when you hold kind of like the side of your fingers on top of the strings, and you put down the whammy bar, and then you can probably detect which string is stuck. And then what I'm doing is I get the string out of the nut. I use a little bit of sandpaper and, you know, open that slot for the string again. If it's too deep, I use a drop of super glue, Sekundenkleber super glue, and have my bone filled, and then cut the slot new and maybe not as deep, whatever requires. So maybe this is important to get your guitar, well, in tune and stable in tune and not making any unwanted noises. So that's, for me, the main thing, taking care on tour or when you play gigs, that the guitar is as good as possible. Because it's simply no fun to have an instrument that you cannot trust. So that's the point. You might need some of this dioxide 5 or, you know, stuff that gets rid of corrosion if you have noisy ports, if you have noisy switches, if you have weird connections on your 1/4 inch plugs. And by the way, the same for the pedal board. If you haven't used your pedal board in ages because you had no gigs during COVID, it's helpful to check stuff before you go on stage and have that stuff ready. Any of these contact cleaners would do the job. There's some people rave on this, other people prefer other stuff. I have also the Vaseline spray that I recommend a lot because it's also works. Vaseline, Kontaktchemie 701. Okay, that's the gear check. The next thing is, of course, when it comes to gear, you might have several requests. I mean, I used to play acoustic guitar on some shows as well, and so I had to check my acoustic guitars, a guitar or guitars if you need a spare one as well. But in the last years, I refused to do the acoustic thing, so I'm just electric and have a Strat and a spare, and that's all I need. I reduced the amount of gear that I bring to the gig to a guitar, a spare guitar, a guitar lead, a spare guitar lead, a speaker lead, sometimes a spare speaker lead, mostly not, and the stuff that is on my pedal board, and I was good to go. And to be honest, I usually bring a spare amp one with me, and I never, ever needed one. Never. The only time I was on stage and I blew up an amp one was Frankfurt 2014, the year when we released it. I had a prototype with a hand soldered thing and it blew up in the middle of the show. Shit happened. But after this, I had never had an amp one issue myself, and I played hundreds of shows. I know sometimes there can be an issue, but I by now totally trust the unit. The only thing is, I have my saying, hey, I better have an amp one with me because then nothing happens, I'm sure, which was true so far. I never needed a spare amp. And that's the good thing about amp ones, it doesn't hurt to have a spare amp somewhere. It is simply there. And sometimes I leave them or forget them under the seat with my colleague when we drive together, and it's still there. So this is what I do as technical preparations. When it comes to the music, it's sometimes for me necessary to have several different plectrums or picks. You know, I like my home plate pick, and I like my big brown secret pick, and I like thinner picks for rhythm guitars sometimes. It all depends on the music that I'm playing, and like these big Hendrix style picks are different from my Blackmore style picks. You know, make me play differently. So what I'm trying to say is I look into these little details and take the stuff and prepare myself kind of the material that I want to take on the road, which means the guitar is in good shape, put on new strings, stays in tune. Probably I learned the songs. Hopefully I can do. Limited time here. Next is, depending on specialties, prepare picks or pedals. Depending on the act I'm playing with, if it's my own thing, I can always work with my board. But sometimes you play with people, they may need some special tones or effects or sounds, and then I go to my pedal collection and grab one of those and make something special for that kind of night or tour, and change a pedal on my pedal board. Yeah, so when I have a good feeling of I've done all these bits and pieces, I will not leave the car, or I will not leave the house going to the car without all the gear being checked, making sure that I have 2 guitars, my pedal board, my speaker, my extra leads, and clothes. And for the clothes, I'm easy because I wear my one shirt all night these days. So it's so easy. I just grab a few more, and yeah, I basically use my extra laundry to help the packaging of the rest that I will take around. Maybe have a rucksack with some food for the travels, and with my t-shirts and some drinks. Water is always very important. Yes, hot these days, enjoy the drinks. So, and then I need to have the hard facts. At what time do I need to be at sound check, or at what time do we need to meet? And this has to be arranged. So, with my schedule. Anyway, this is the stuff that goes through my head when I think about preparing my shows. Well, you can probably see the results on YouTube, because some people or Facebook will probably film what we are doing, being it Blug, Grenfell, Engelin and Tommy Fisher, or Rock Anarchy featuring Tony Carey and David Reedman, playing Rainbow songs, Tony Carey songs, and the classics that I know, which I'm not afraid of, because this is kind of my standard repertoire and that feels easy to me. But I have to prepare for the rest at least a tiny little bit. I hope you enjoyed that insight. And some people over prepare and some people are a bit messy about stuff. So I try to be in the middle, and I need to know how important the gig is to allocate the preparation time for what I'm doing, and also for how long I need for myself to be in good enough shape. The only thing I'm not doing is practicing the guitar, because there's no time for it. I practice when I'm on stage or being here in the video studio. Sometimes, which is very, very rare, I play the guitar just for fun on my couch. Anyway, next episode you can see me on tour. Looking forward to that. Take care, guys. Cheers. So, this is the setup. Awamba Balubab, case, deckel. Strat. So. Keyboard is coming.
That's what she said.
Yeah. No, Gully is taking this with him. Yeah. So, speaker. Yep. And here we are. Plug in here, plug in there, switch on power, switch on here, tune the guitar. Ready. So pick, and here we go.